जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनन्दना जय ब्रजमरञ्जना जय यशोदनन्दना जय ब्रजमरञ्जना जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुञ्ज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय राधा कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय यशोदनन्दना जय ब्रजमरञ्जना जय ब्रजमरञ्जना जय ब्रज जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुनतीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा की जय।
जय श्री रूप सनातन भक्त रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भक्त दस रघुनाथ सत गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। शिष्य राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। गंगामय की जय। यमुनामय की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन याग की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. जय श्री गुरु श्री गौरांग। जय श्री गुरु श्री गौरांग की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादं सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुत देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महवदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Namo Vishnupada Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Ema Vadibhyo Chabisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namaha Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Today we have very nice opportunity to listen Krishna Katha, and we have, as we can say, we have today one interesting topic. I will take this book, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Actually, this is here we can find the articles from Harmonist magazine, edited by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and his disciples, and it was collected by Gaudiya Math and compiled and edited by His Holiness Shri Srimad Bhaktivilas Tirtha Goswami Maharaj from Shri Chaitanya Math. But why I took this topic? Because that is very important. The article, this actually for Siddhanti people in order to preach in the West. It was originally compiled in English language. Actually, it is very famous in among Gaudiya devotees, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and we can also try to also get some nice opportunity from listening from this book. And actually, this book that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wrote for preaching in the West, in fact, it is a collection of articles, yes, from the Harmonist magazine, a journal he personally wrote in English, addressing a Western audience, actually. And I was very fortunate. I was living some time in Gadagiri village in Shishirada Gopalji temple and was listening so many lectures and readings from the works of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati given by Shri Chandra Maharaj. He often was giving us classes based precisely on his teachings and translating them from Bengali. And I thought, because I already was giving these classes in Russian language, and we already have 65 classes on this book, based on this book. So I decided why I not speak it in English, because also maybe so good as Russian, But I can try, and also, why not go through this book? So just article by article. So and try to understand what Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur wanted to convey to the world. So as I said, it was prepared by the Chaitanya Math, thanks to them. But what concerns us is not the just editorial shape of the book. What concerns us is the essence. Because the teachings of the sacred scriptures as presented by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And we want to approach them in order to understand them properly in the mood of our A.C. Bhaktivedanta, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And when we do so, we realize something very important. Everything Srila Prabhupada gave us is fully sufficient for our spiritual advancement. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada gave us many things. Everything he gave in the form of a seed, like bija rupa. It may appear externally that Srila Prabhupada did not give all this depth, but the impression is incorrect. Actually, he embedded all the depth in his books and instructions. So all the deep meaning of Prabhupada books. And so we will see our Srila Prabhupada in Gaudiya Parampara also, as disciple of his guru. And when we open the writings of Bhaktivedanta Saraswati, we immediately see how complicated language is. It's very like in India, they have Shuddha Hindi. That means they're very pure. One time I asked one Indian brahmachari, he was reading Bhagavad Gita. I said, "Do you understand this word? Do you understand this word?" He said, No. So how you should Hindi? We not understand. I just try to read. Should English, we can say. Very pure English, very high. Old English, used by Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur. But behind this complexity lies a profound depth that simply cannot be expressed in ordinary words. So when I first began reading this book, yes, actually I could spend an entire day reflecting on just one sentence. Yes, if we understand even a little, our heart begins to change. So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati is a great acharya. He authored many works in between 1936 in Sanskrit, Bengali, Oriya, Assamese, Hindi, and some extent in English. And it is said that even today, scholars have not been able to gather all his writings into one complete system. And what to speak of translating them? Yeah, what to speak of translating them? It's not yet translated. Everything not yet translated actually in English and in other languages. And actually, he is an exalted Vaishnava, and even his English carries extraordinary depth, deep meaning. And one can understand him only by the mercy of spiritual master. Yeah. We are praying to the mercy of Guru, Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada in order to understand it. So if even a drop of that mercy descends, at the very least, our heart will become purified by reading his teachings. One time, Sri Pachitanchandra Maharaj, maybe before one maybe in some his last classes, he spoke about that, how one ISKCON Maharaj, maybe it was Shashinandana Swami Maharaj, he asked him, why are you giving classes from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati? Why are you not giving classes like others? So, and Shipashtan Chandra Prabhu, he said, only he asked this question. Nobody else asked me about it. And he said, when he was giving class, he stopped and he said, actually, my Guru Maharaj wanted that everyone can develop Krishna Prema. Therefore, we listen from Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And this very deep meaning is here. So here the book starts from Shikshashtaka prayers. Glory, eternal glory to Sri Krishna Sankirtana. It wipes and polishes the dust-laden mirror of the soul, extinguish the raging forest conflagration of worldly life, endows the lily of righteous living with benevolent moonlight, yields life-giving support to the bride of true knowledge, swells the ocean of divine bliss, adds the full relish of nectar to every syllable of the holy name, laves and chastens the entire self with the Supreme Spirit. Glory, eternal glory, rest with such a holy name. This is Chetodarpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavaganya Shriya Vitaranam Vidya Jivanam Andandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamritaswadanam Sarvatmasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. That means glory, eternal glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, yeah. So it wipes and polishes means this. It cleanses and polish the dust-laden mirror means dust-covered mirror of the soul. And extinguish the raging forest conflagration, or we can say just the blazing forest fire of material life. Endows the lily of righteous living. So that means illumines the lotus of righteousness with its benevolent moonlight. Yeah. Yields life-giving support to the bride of true knowledge. Yeah, give life and support, we can say. Swells the ocean of divine bliss, like we can say, raise the ocean of divine bliss, and fills every syllable of the holy names with nectar, and bathes and purifies the entire being with the Supreme Spirit. Glory, eternal glory to the holy name. Namnamakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrarpita Niyamita Smarane Nakala Etadrishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Urdhaivamidrishamiha Janina Nuragaha. That means only he is worthy to chant the name of Hari. Yeah. Who is humbler? No, sorry, no. Your names are indeed countless, and each is filled with a spiritual power. Yeah, you have mercifully decreed that there shall be no restriction of time or place for chanting them. Yet, alas, my fortune is so poor that love for the holy name has not yet awakened in me. Trinadapi sunichena taruriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtani asada harihi. I do not desire wealth, followers, or poetic fame. Grant me only this, O Lord, that in every lifetime I may embrace you within my heart, in the spirit of selfless devotion and love. Yeah. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha kripaya tava pada pankaja stitaduri sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Nanda, I, your servant, have fallen into the vortex, he said, into the vortex or whirlpool of the dreadful ocean of worldly life, or is it a terrible worldly ocean? Yeah. So thy mercy, but make me a speck of dust on thy lotus feet. This very high language, like may your mercy make me even a single speck of dust at your lotus feet. Yugaitam nimeshana chakchusha pravrishayitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name. Yeah. When will tears flow from my eyes? Chakchusha pravrishayitam. When will my voice tremble, choked with love? When will my entire body shiver in ecstasy upon hearing the holy name? Yeah. Oh, we just missed maybe some. Nayanam galada shrudharaya vadanam gadgada rudhaya gira pulakar nishchitam vapukkada tavana magrahane bhavishyati. And then yugaitam nimeshena. One wing appears like ages. Tears stream down from my eye like showers in rainy season. Like torrents, yeah, in the rainy season. And the whole world appears empty and lifeless when I am bereft of the sight of Govinda. It is said appears like a dreary void to me. Yeah. Mhm. Yugaitam Ashlishyava Padaratam Pinashtumam Adarshanan Marmahatam Karotuva Yatha Tata Vavidadatulam Pato Mat Prananathastu Sevana Paraha. So the son of the, oh no, let him hug me, his beloved, or crush me if he so wills. Let him kill me outright, or banish me from his sight, or in whatever other ways let him gratify his passion. Yet this loving cheat, no one else, shall remain the darling of my heart. Yes, so the son of the chief of Braja, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, dwelling in his own transcendental abode of Vrindavan, is our only object of worship. According to the example of the most glorious mode of devotion of the gopis of Braja, the purest and most authentic source of knowledge of this truth is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the stainless Puranam. The highest attainment in man's life is unalloyed devotion, prema, to the Lord. This is the doctrine disseminated by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is our only reverent guide and nothing else. Nothing. So we start first chapter. The first chapter is called The Search for Truth. The Search for Truth. And we start, like we can say, at the very beginning, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur gives a short but very powerful summary of the whole chapter. So he writes, if the sadhu turns into my flatterer, then he does me harm by becomes my enemy. That means if sadhu turns into someone who flatters and deceives, then he harms me as a consequence. So he becomes my enemy. So what does it mean? If a sadhu flatters us, if he gives advice in such a way that is just simply pleasant for us, if he plays along with our desires and tells us what we want to hear, so then he actually becomes our enemy. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said. Why? Because at that moment we step onto a path that leads not to the truth, but to pleasure, our sense enjoyment, and external well being. In other words, to a new illusion. We're creating a new illusion. So this sadhu is our enemy, is not our friend. So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said. Another thing is that then another he makes very strong statement. No one can be the teacher of the truth except the devotee of God. And he gives a very instructive analogy. And then it is not acceptable to call yogurt as milk or to call curd milk. Of course, curd is produced from milk, but it is no longer milk. Milk is the source. Curd is just transformation of milk, transformed form of that source. So yes, we recognize milk as basis, but spoiled milk will never become curd, and it certainly will never again become milk. So what does it mean for us? It teaches us to distinguish where the truth is and where only a distorted shadow of it appears. If I think, oh, the way I think is truthful, this is truth, the real truth, the way I'm thinking, yeah. And the way others are thinking is also truth, yeah. Everything is truth. So what is the problem in it? What is the problem at all? But here it is clearly said there is a source and there is a transformation of the source. There is a truth and there is transformation of the truth. The source is a milk, naturally sweet by nature. Sweet, yeah. The transformed source is yogurt or curd, which has a little bit sour taste. So can we add sugar to yogurt to make it sweet? Of course we can, but the sweetness will no longer be the natural sweetness of the milk. In this way, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says, modern civilization has a sour taste. There is no taste of milk left in it. We cannot honestly call it milk, even if outwardly it seems to have the same origin, the same source. We are speaking like figuratively, this is just an analogy, but a very precise one. The way we live now, the way our life is structured, the way society is organized, the nature of our relationships, all of these is in fact curd or yogurt, but not milk. So, but what brings us the real happiness? Milk is the original source which has natural sweetness. That means the natural sweetness of Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Katha, Krishna's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There is yet another state, like spoiled milk. What can you do with it? Nothing. This is just separate philosophy. When A person lives in passive ignorance, tamaguna, something can still be done. There is at least some possibility of change. But when he already possesses a ready-made system of use, so-called philosophy, like little knowledge is a problem. If he has no knowledge at all, at least he can get knowledge and become knowledgeable person. But if there is little knowledge, but this knowledge is wrong, very difficult, because pride is there, ahankara, false ego is there. So especially when a ready-made system of use is there, especially when he has firmly established himself in Mayavada conception, and I am God, everybody is God. So then it becomes extremely difficult to do anything, because he has already discovered a certain philosophical sweetness, but it comes from a spoiled source. So that is connected with who is the real guru, who is not, to whom we should listen or to whom not. I hope you can understand what I'm telling now. And after that, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur moves on to something no less important. This transcendental knowledge stands on sumati, or the good dispositio. That means good disposition of mind. Yeah. O Vishnu, we shall serve sumati by simply uttering thy name. May all of us gain this good disposition. So here, so the Sanskrit word sumati can be translated as good disposition of mind, or we can say benevolent state of heart, or wholesome, clear intelligence. So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur addresses Lord Vishnu and says, in essence, we must serve Sumati by chanting your name. So may we all obtain this good disposition of mind, this gentle and kind character. That is our prayer, yeah? So what does it mean in practice? Yeah, so the good disposition of mind, that is a, we can say there's a basic platform. If we do not possess basic kindness in our heart, if we have not even realized that one of these 26 qualities of devotee, a devotee is kind to all living entities. We have not realized it. It means that our realization has not yet reached even the level of impersonal Brahman. Sometimes we underestimate, we can say, the impersonal Brahman. We think it is negative platform, but if we have not reached even the kindness of the heart, what then can be said of realization of Paramatma and Bhagavan, the deeper aspects of the Lord? So here it is said, good disposition of mind and heart, sumati, is something very important, because all transcendental knowledge is based on that. Like Srila Guru Govinda Swami Maharaj used to say, we should be optimistic, never pessimistic at all. Only optimistic that we can get Krishna in this life, in very this life. Yeah, you can find different statements of Prabhupada. You can find in Bhagavatam, Prabhupada said, it's not possible to get Krishna consciousness, to go to Krishna in one life. At least one human being can be established in just sadhana. But yes, by maybe by our own effort is not possible at all. By the mercy of sadhu, by the mercy of sadhu guru, everything possible. I see the Shesha Vigraha Prabhu tries to connect with us, but if you have difficulties, you can use Zoom, because Zoom also is working. So Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur then quotes the following verse from Brahma Samhita. Prabudhigyana bhaktibhyam atmanyananda chinmayi udetyanuttama bhaktir bhagavat prema lakshana. He comments, when the pure spiritual experience is excited by means of cognition and service, bhakti, super excellent unalloyed devotion characterized by love for Godhead is awakened towards Krishna, the beloved of all souls. That means when a pure spiritual experience awakens through knowledge, jnana, and devotional service, bhakti, then the highest form of devotion arises, Bhagavat Prema, love for Krishna, the beloved of all souls. Therefore, what we need is to awaken in our heart such a spiritual experience with the help of knowledge and devotional service. So that is why we study the instructions of sadhus when we hear a katha, not just for the sake of stories, entertaining stories. Stories are very popular and they are wonderful, yes. But we also need tattva, we need the truth. That is why the title of this chapter is called The Search for the Truth. Then Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur quotes the next verse from Brahma Samhita. Pramanaistat sadacharais tadabhyasa nirantaram bodhayanatmanatmanam bhaktimapyutamam labhet. The translation. The highest devotion is not attained the highest devotion is attained by slow degrees by the method of constant endeavor for self-realization with the help of scriptural evidence, theistic conduct, and perseverance in practice. That means the highest devotion is not attained all at once, but gradually, through constant endeavor for self-realization, then supported by the scriptures, by proper conduct and perseverance in practice. And the last line that is said, Bhaktim apyutamam labhet. In this way, one attains pure, supreme devotion. Here are certain key words we can find, like pramana is by means of scriptural evidence, and tat sadachara is through proper behavior, achar. Achar is very important. And not only speaking prachar, but also we should act nicely. Then tad abhyasa nirantaram, through continuous practice and effort. And our sadhana is also important. And the word nirantaram can be translated also like as unceasingly, without interruption. The word nirantaram can be translated as unceasingly. Yeah. And Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur explained it is as, like we can say, constant endeavor, like steadfastness and perseverance in practice. So something very important is being said. Pure devotion does not awaken immediately. It awakens gradually. So for this we need the support of the scriptures, behavior in accordance with the Shastra, and steadfastness, a fervent desire, and he has two internal conditions: faith and hope. Faith means in this very life I can attain Krishna. Yes, it is impossible, but I can attain Krishna by the mercy of Sadhguru. And hope, one day that moment will surely come when I will attain Krishna. So I'm waiting him. I'm eager to get Krishna. Every day, every single day, I am thinking, I'm searching for Krishna. That is search for the truth. So if we have these two things, yes, two things, faith and hope, then as Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur said, the path to truth is open. The path to truth is open. And then he give another verse, it's from Brahma Samhita 61. Dharmananyan parityajya mamekam bhaja vishwasan yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi kurvan nirantaram karma lokoyamanuvartate tenaiva karmana dhyayan mam param bhakti micchati. Here he explains the word parityaja. Parityaja means having given up. What must we give up? What shall we give up? The desire for fame, the desire for to be praised, the desire that others glorify us. Important? Yes. And what we should do instead? Serve me with faith, the Lord says. Abandoning all meritorious performances, serve me with faith. Faith. Yes, sorry, my English. The realization will correspond to the nature of one's faith. The people of the world act ceaselessly in the pursuit of some ideal. By meditating on me by means of those deeds, one will obtain devotion characterized by love in the shape of the supreme service. It means, so we need faith, and we need to give up the tendency to do anything simply for the sake of praise and glory. And then he continues that by meditating on me through one's activities and actions, a person develops devotion. It is characterized by love in the form of devotional service. So thus we must engage in service. And the search for truth is itself a form of a service, actually. This is precisely why we have the Society of Krishna Consciousness. Society for Krishna Consciousness, yes. Srila Prabhupada created it so that we can have a concrete opportunity to serve not just in theory but practice. And the first chapter, Search for Truth, spiritual means and ends. That ends in this meaning means goals. It describes spiritual means and spiritual goals. In a certain sense, by beginning this chapter, we ourselves begin also a new chapter in our own life. So we will read a little bit from that. The materialistic demeanor cannot possibly stretch to the transcendental autocrat who is ever inviting the fallen conditioned souls to associate with him through devotion or eternal serving mood. So that just to try to explain it. It's very boldly, extremely boldly, he said, that materialistic demeanor means demeanor, the materialistic mode of conduct. This cannot possibly stretch. It means cannot be applied to the transcendental autocrat, the absolute monarch, we can say. emperor who is ever inviting the fallen conditioned souls to associate with him in the spirit of devotion. So, in the mood of eternal service, very important. So, we need to think deeply about what he is saying here. This one sentence contains a great deep meaning. And then he begins to speak of a certain autocrat, or we can say sovereign, a king, a ruler, who is transcendental. That is, he does not belong to this world. We cannot judge him. From a material point of view, we cannot judge him. And yet he interacts with us. He is not indifferent to us. So we are all fallen conditioned souls, and he wishes to communicate with us. How? By awakening devotion within us. And that devotion can develop into the mood of eternal service. So what is meant here is that when this devotion is fully developed, it becomes not just some external service, but service in one's own constitutional position, Svarupa, in one's original eternal relationship with the Lord. So that is a very important detail. Then he writes about the phenomenal attractions are often found to tempt sentient beings to enjoy the variegated position which is opposed to undifferenced monism. So various manifestation of this world, we can say, phenomenal, means various manifestation of this world attract and tempt us, attracting and tempting us. They confuse and bewilder intelligent living beings, jivas, who are actually capable of knowing the truth. This is a world where constant temptation is taking place. And therefore, we want to enjoy different positions in this world. Yeah. And then he said, from the opposite side, there is a doctrine of undifferentiated monism. The idea is that there is no variety at all, that there are no real positions. Everything is just simply one. God is, everyone is God. Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvakau Brahma. So this is how this world is arranged. People are inclined to occupy various positions, even if they come into a spiritual movement. They still tend to strive for some position. Yes, to become a guru, to become a sannyasi, to be a preacher, to acquire a name, and so on. But, however, Krishna cannot be known in this way. On the other hand, we also cannot know Krishna simply by asserting that everything is one. No position is needed. I'm already, everybody has prema, everybody is Krishna. That individuality itself is unnecessary, our personality. I remember like Subhag Maharaj, Srila Subhag Swami Maharaj came to Gadagiri and he said, sometimes devotees tell, I'm nothing, I'm nobody. He said, but we never use it. Vaishnava, it is never used by Vaishnavas. Vaishnava will never say, I'm nothing or nobody, because the Vaishnava says, I'm the servant of my Guru. So this is very important. So we must come to know that person who is transcendental, who seems to be beyond this world, and yet can truly be known. Oh, that is a great news. So we can hope for a mutual relationship with him, exchange, loving exchange with him. Then Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said, people are apt to indulge in transitory speculations, even when they are to educate themselves on a situation beyond their empiric area are experiencing jurisdiction. That means people are inclined to indulge in various temporary speculations. In other words, they invent philosophies, they invent conceptions. Even within the society of devotees, there are so many speculations, so many opinions and theories. So he writes that even when people have to analyze or consider some situation that lies beyond the limit of their experience, beyond the boundaries of their, you can say, jurisdiction, that is beyond the limits of their responsibility and authority also, they still try to invent something to speculate. Recently, I heard one preacher, one devotee, famous devotee, give a talk in which he claimed that there is actually no such thing as a causeless mercy. Can you imagine? He said that this is a just philosophical mistake, he said. Everyone in our ISKCON society is making. So his argument went something like, if we simply walk around distributing books, we just sing, chanting Harinam, Sankirtan, just pile books on people, it will not affect them in any real way, he said. That means if people just go and listen our kirtan, that doesn't mean they will become devotee. Or if you just give them books. Because ahaituki generally is translated as causeless. But he gave this interpretation that ahaituki comes from hetu means motivation, ulterior motivation. That means ahaituki means free from ulterior motives, other desire. That doesn't mean there is not a cause. Instead, there is a cause to become devotee. Wow. That means the causeless mercy, kripa, is nothing but just a sort of a fairy tale. That is his preaching. But this is pure speculation, actually. Like many speculations are there, like that the like I heard this Srila Bhakti Vikas Maharaj said about disrobing Draupadi. Some devotee they neglect it, they say. It is never possible because in Bhagavatam never spoken about disrobing Draupadi. That means whatever was spoken by Sripad Madhvacharya, spoken in Mahabharata, that is wrong. Draupadi was never disrobed. Actually, they were just catching her hair like that, never touching her sari. Oh, it means Dukshasana never did like that. So all this story about Krishna's causeless mercy being cracked, yeah. So that is speculation. And sometimes preachers doing like that. They add something and they say Prabhupada never said like that, and actually in Shastras never be like that. Anyone who has had real experience of association with the sadhu, you can understand that by a single merciful glance, a sadhu can make someone a devotee. Many people cannot grasp this, but there are many such examples. Like one, when once Srila Prabhupada arrived in America, the Boston, in the steamship of Jaladuta, the captain of the ship captain of the ship, next ship to it, happened to catch his glance from a nearby deck. He was staying on the deck looking at Prabhupada, and he got this Prabhupada glance full of compassion. Several years later, that man left everything and completely surrendered to Krishna. But it was just one glance filled with compassion. So in this way, mercy is transmitted through the merciful glance of a sadhu. So we need this, living association with a pure devotee, a carrier of bhakti. So there is then such an opportunity is opened. And Shastra also confirms this. Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. The living entities wandering through the universe carried by their karma. Some they reach higher planets, others fall to lower ones. Among millions of such souls, only a rare fortunate one, by Krishna's mercy, meets a genuine spiritual master. Then Krishna and the spiritual master together bestow upon him the seed of devotional service. So that is happening. Yeah. So this is a very important thing. And Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur said, the esoteric aspect often induces them to trace out immanence in their outward inspection of transitory and transformable things. So Krishna is the sovereign or the autocrat. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur writes, so have you ever thought about the difference between esoteric and exoteric? Esoteric means inner, hidden, confidential, mystical, esoteric. And he also speaks of tracing the, like we can say, trace out immanence, or tracing the immanence. Immanent or immanence means something that is inherent in us, proper to our very nature. To interpret a transcendental event or something merely material as a product of the mind or of a subtle mental state, that is just like distortion, perverted condition. I remember once I had a dream in which my spiritual master came. Later I told Shipachanand Chandra Prabhu, who was my Shiksha Guru at the time. I was associating with him. And I asked him, so how should I see such dreams? Is it just imagination? Or did my Guru Maharaj actually came to me? He replied, no. Even a dream a sadhu comes and speak with you, that is real. So that is sadhu sanga, a real association with the sadhu. Because sadhu, Krishna is absolute one, sadhu is also transcendental. Because wherever he appears, everything becomes transcendental. Even if you simply think of a pure devotee, your entire consciousness is uplifted and transformed. And here Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur is speaking precisely about this. People are inclined, you can say, to transfer their material experience into a spiritual life. It is simply easier for them to think like that. They say, oh, this is just a dream, just imagination. Like brain produced some type of dream, so that you can see. Like Prabhupada said, you were thinking about tiger, and at night tiger will come to you when you are sleeping in a dream. Yeah? in dream condition. But that is material example. But actually in the spiritual field also, if you're thinking about Sadhu, Guru and Krishna and they comes to you in your dream, that is real. And many people just say, who is having prema? Who is having prema? Prema is very rare in Shastra, it is said. Why are we talking about this Krishna Prema Bhakti? Let us just live normally, build communities, follow some basic rules. But Krishna Prema, love of God, pardon me, that is too far away. It's probably something maybe not from ISKCON, maybe it is idea from Gaudiya Math, maybe from another institution. Maybe there they talk about Krishna Prema, but here no, we just normal people here. Just sitting prasadam, dancing, serving to Prabhupada. Yeah, but he continues. The impulse moves them to fix the position of the immanent to an indeterminate impersonal entity, no clue of which could be discerned by moving earth and heaven through their organic senses. Yeah. That means sometimes people try to explain the truth and to find the original cause, and eventually they come to the impersonal Brahman. Impersonal. It means indeterminate impersonal entity. Why? They simply observe. Oh, you see, one thing happens and another happens. Someone attains prema, yeah? Who is having prema? Nobody is having. But what difference does it make as long as our society is developing? So much duties we are having. And how many pure devotees? Very few, very few. So this is this type of disappointment gradually pushes people towards impersonal understanding. They're losing their enthusiasm. They don't want to push so much mission efforts. They're just thinking, why are we doing, why we bother so much on this preaching? We are not Prabhupada. Just we live in our secluded place and chant Hare Krishna. Who is pure? Because there must be some impersonal source of knowledge, an impersonal beginning of everything. Sometimes they come to this conclusion by bad association. Yeah, this impersonal mood manifests even in the way people associate. They neglect relationship, neglect each other. Yeah, and even when class is going on, they're not interested. They're sleeping. It is very subtle, but it is also impersonal. When relationship takes place on an impersonal platform, spiritual feelings do not develop. Do not develop. Therefore, it is said that we must know not only Shastra, we should also learn to behave properly, not only just philosophical knowledge, gone through Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta. But if you have too much knowledge but you cannot apply it, you will be disappointed. Finally, your realization will be just impersonal. So we need a joyful platform for knowledge, a platform of happiness. And Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur said that it was called Sumati, good disposition of mind and heart, should be optimistic. If we do not receive this at the very beginning of our path, this hope that I can develop Krishna Prema Bhakti, I can get supreme perfection, we will understand nothing. So we must have faith that in this very life I can go back home, back to God. that I can realize my relationship with Krishna. If this faith is absent, then even if I know the scriptures, I will be inclined to speculate. And impersonalism will remain in my heart. This is nameless impersonal essence. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati could speak. An determinate impersonal entity. Yeah. Then, no clue of which could be discerned by moving earth and heaven through their organic senses. He said, if you simply pass the elements of earth or sky through your senses, you will not discover any impersonal essence behind them. Everything personal in this world. You will not be able to prove practically that some impersonal entity is the beginning of everything. No. Behind everything stands a concrete person. It is therefore necessary to help such puzzled souls in their march towards the personality of the immanent lying beyond their sensuous gaze of inspection. This is, in effect, is man's highest objective, search for truth. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati was saying. So it is necessary to help such bewildered souls on their way towards the original person, the supreme personality of God. Whereas he writes, towards the personality of the immanent, who lies beyond the field of the senses, beyond the reach of our external powers of observation. Yeah. So this is the person with whom we are directly connected. And this is a very interesting experience. The source of truth is beyond our sense of understanding, but we mistakenly think that he is something incomprehensibly far away. In reality, it is the material body that is beyond to us. This material body is foreigner, not me as foreigner. Material body and mind, they are foreigner, alien to the soul. So, like that. Maybe it's enough for today. So we will stop now. If you have some questions, we can answer. Please write down or ask here on many platforms we have. Private chat. Hare Krishna. Okay. Who is Boko? I don't know. Who joined through Restream? Yeah, somebody joined here. Anton. Okay, Anthony. Anthony from Colorado. Okay. Somebody maybe in YouTube can ask questions or Facebook. So we just took first paragraph today. We will continue next time. Very interesting. It is very interesting. The Sri Chaitanya teachings, Sri Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, are already given in Russian language. 65 classes, so we continue in English also. Okay, thank you very much. Jai Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai. Jai Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय समेत भक्त वृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।